Hello and welcome to a very special episode of the Untold Story podcast, as this is the squad announcement podcast for England's Euro 2020 squad. Obviously, the Euro 2020 tournament was delayed due to the coronavirus pandemic, but now the time is finally here. The squad has been announced. In this podcast, I'll go through what I think Southgate's thoughts were when selecting the team. I'll also go through my prediction and compare it to the squad that was actually announced, and then I'll talk about how I think he will play based on the players that he has chosen. But first off, if I just read out the 26-man team, the goalkeepers are Dean Henderson, Sam Johnson and Jordan Pickford. Defenders, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Ben Chilwell, Connor Cody, Reece James, Harry Maguire, Tyrone Mings, Luke Shaw, John Stones, Kieran Trippier and Kyle Walker. Midfielders, Jude Bellingham, Jordan Henderson, Mason Mount, Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice. And the forwards and wingers are Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Phil Foden, Jack Grealish, Harry Kane, Marcus Rashford, Bukayo Saka, Jadon Sancho and Raheem Sterling. So, I think the main talking point was at about 3 p.m. Sky Sports reported that Trent Alexander-Arnold would be involved in the 26-man team. I think the big talking point of the squad is that he has chosen 4 right-backs, but I did hear somewhere that in the last squad in March, Southgate said that Alexander-Arnold had the potential to play in multiple positions. Obviously, we know he used to play central midfield for Liverpool's youth teams, so he has that option to play central midfield, but apparently Sky Sports said that Southgate said that Alexander-Arnold could play as a winger. Now, it depends what formation Southgate goes with. If he goes with the 5, then he will maybe not, and I can't see that happening. But I think in the defensive midfield area of the team, it obviously depends on how fit Henderson Phillips is. Obviously, both of them. Henderson missed a large chunk of the second half of the season. Calvin Phillips got subbed off due to injury in the last game of the season, but both have taken part in the 33-man squad training up in Middlesbrough. Another surprise selection is that Bukayo Saka has retained his place. Obviously, I don't think many people expected him to play any more part than just make up the numbers of the 33-man team. And I do believe if that Mason Greenwood hadn't pulled out due to injury, or Man United hadn't pulled him out due to injury, should I say, then I don't believe he would be in the team. Sam Johnson has won the battle over him and Aaron Ramsdale. Harry Maguire, I don't believe is fit, but has been selected. That may be due to the experience of already being at a tournament, or Southgate's hoping that he will play some part, or might be fit enough to play the last group stage game and then going into the knockout rounds if we get there. But based off of this team and the 4 right backs, I do believe he will play Kyle Walker as more of a centre back and go 5 at the back. That is my personal opinion. I can see it being Pickford, Alexander-Arnold, Walker, Stones, Mings, Shaw, Henderson, Mount, if Henderson's fit. If Henderson's not fit, then Rice and Mount, Sancho, Rashford, Kane. That is the team I can see the first group stage of the game being. So now I will move on to comparing the two teams. My prediction for the 26-man team and what has actually came out. So my goalkeepers were Pickford, Pope and Henderson. Obviously, Pickford and Henderson are there. Pope has unfortunately missed out due to injury. I went with 3 right backs. Yeah, Southgate's went with 4. I went with Alexander-Arnold, Walker, Trippier. He's added Reece James into there. Now, my Centre-backs were John Stones, Harry Maguire, Connor Cody, Michael Keane and Tyrone Mings. Michael Keane didn't even make it there. It was Ben Godfrey instead. And he's went for Connor Cody, Harry Maguire, John Stones and Tyrone Mings. So he's only went 4, I went 5. Left-backs, Shaw and Chilwell. I think that was always going to happen. No one saw anything different coming. In the midfield areas, I went for Henderson, Rice, Foden, Bellingham and Mount. So again, the 5 players. His midfield is Bellingham, Henderson, Mount, Rice, Calvin Phillips. Foden is in there, but he's been classed as a forward. I didn't put Calvin Phillips in there just due to that injury. I didn't know if he would be fit. Forwards, I went Grealish, Sancho, Rashford, Lingard, Sterling, Kane, Calvert-Lewin and Bamford. Bamford didn't make it there. The rest all did. He went for Calvert-Lewin, Grealish, Kane, Rashford, Saka, Sancho and Sterling. I'm pretty sure I did mention Saka in my prediction for this team, but I just didn't think he would be good enough. Lingard, I'm surprised, didn't make it there again ahead of Saka. It's a good England team. I don't think you can go very wrong with the current crop of the England players. I think it's our best squad depth or squad capability since the likes of Gerrard, Lampard were playing back under Steve McLaren. If I also mention another person's 26-man team, this came from a guy who commented on my video. You'll be able to go find it. My prediction for England's Euro 2020 squad. That video, it was not the last podcast, but the podcast before. His 26-man team was Pickford, Henderson, Johnson, so he got all the keepers correct. His right backs were Trent, Reece James and Wan-Bissaka. Obviously, no one expected the 4 right backs. He did also have Walker in there, but he had Walker as a centre back, with him thinking he would go with a 5-3-2 or 3-4-3 formation. He also had Tomori in there. He didn't make it. Stones, Cody, Maguire, Mings, Chilwell, Shaw. So he did quite well in the defence, only getting 2 wrong. And he missed out Trippier out of the defence because with a 10-week ban in the middle of the season, you might have thought, does he deserve it? Although he won the league, all 4 right backs, apart from Alexander-Arnold, have won a major trophy in their domestic or European competition that they have played in. His midfielders, he has put Grealish as a midfielder, but he has went Rice, Bellingham, Phillips, Grealish and Mount. No Jordan Henderson. I think this might have been just due to injury. He might not have thought he would have made it. And then his forwards were Foden, Sterling, Kane, Watkins, Greenwood, who unfortunately missed out due to injury, Sancho, Rashford. Watkins is a person I haven't mentioned yet, as he hasn't been named in the team. When everyone thought, he will be named as a 3rd choice striker, but I think Rashford might be that 3rd choice striker and 1st choice left winger, or maybe him and Sterling will swap the jobs because they can both play centrally. So I think that might be something Southgate thinks of. But I do believe with that team, he is going to play 3 at the back. I think that is the most logical. I don't think you can play 4 at the back and have 3 right backs. I think Walker will play as the right centre back behind either Alexander-Arnold or Reece James. I don't think Trippier will be 1st choice right back or 2nd choice right back. But you just got to wait and see how it happens in 2 weeks' time. So not long at all until England kick off their Euro campaign. One thing that I have to mention, and that is that England can change their team all the way up to the night before their first Euro 2021 game. This is a rule purely put in by UEFA to stop teams missing players or not having enough players due to COVID. If someone catches COVID, like there's been reported today, just before the England squad got announced, that John Fleck for Scotland, he's tested positive for COVID and he will miss their pre-tournament friendlies. So that's unfortunate for him, but he is expected to be back for the second or maybe even third group game. But it's unfortunate for him, obviously such a big occasion. So if I now mention the 7 players that have missed out, unfortunately, on this 26-man team. So obviously we start with the obvious one, which is Mason Greenwood. He was withdrawn. But the other 6 are Ollie Watkins, James Ward-Prowse, Aaron Ramsdale, Ben White, Ben Godfrey and Jesse Lingard. James Ward-Prowse, in my opinion, should have been there. I do not think Bukayo Saka should be anywhere near this England team at the minute. Yes, he's versatile, but experience-wise, he doesn't have it. While James Ward-Prowse played in the Premier League for a very long time now. And even Jesse Lingard, experienced Premier League player, been around a long time. Ollie Watkins, you can maybe say our first season in the Premier League. Yes, he's done well, but lacks that top-flight experience. He's only played in the EFL so far. But again, 14 goals in the Premier League. Bamford scored more than that. Scored 16, 18 goals in the league this season. Ramsdale relegated, so I don't think you can really complain about him. Although Sam Johnson was relegated, I think Sam Johnson currently is that better all-round goalkeeper, and again more experienced. Ben White, I think, is unfortunate to leave, especially if England play back 3, because he has played a lot this season as a back 3. Ben Godfrey, I think you can say the same as Watkins and Ramsdale, where maybe just he doesn't have that experience of playing at the top level. I mean, Ben White as well has only had his one season at top level, so you can kind of understand why these players aren't in. But Jesse Lingard, second half of the season, it does surprise us that he's not in the team, but I have heard people say that the squad's not picked over the last 6 months, it's picked over the last 36 months, which I think is obvious in some of the selections that have been made. But apart from that, this is just a really short episode, and I want to get out quick just so people get my reaction first, or will be one of the first to get out there. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, that my @ is @UntoldStoryPod_. The link will be in the description. If you want to follow me on Instagram, my @ is @TheUntoldStoryPod. Again, that will be in the description. My business email will be in the description as well. Subscribe. If you're listening on YouTube, follow if you're listening on Spotify or however it is on the other platforms that you stay in touch with this. Again, leave your comments down below if you want to be, because some of them, as you've seen this episode, do get featured in the podcast. If I like to hear your opinions on stuff that I've said. But apart from that, thanks for listening, and I'll be back this weekend with a weekly roundup, the first one in a while, or maybe even a Euro 2020 predictions video podcast.